I want to share with you 10 reasons why I think you should try using a filofax in the modern era. And I'll tell you why. Number one, the ring-bound system, which is over 100 years old in this format, personal size. I mean, you could have a personal size one. You could have... This is the smallest one ever made. This is the Guildford Mini Extra Slim, which was made for a while by the Filofax company, as we know it. Very, very handy. I like this one. Or you can have something a little bit bigger. So this is an A5. So there's quite a big difference there. I like using this. I like using this. But I also like using the... Where are we? I've got so many Filofaxes here. This size, the personal size, which is probably the traditional, most common size. There's A5 and there's pocket. Have I got an A5? Yes, I have, but it's buried in all the Filofaxes here. And you have an amazing choice. You could go traditional, vintage. This is probably about 40 years old and still going strong. Or you could go very, very vintage. This one here is in lovely condition, lovely, but it's actually older than me, and I'm in my 60s. Or you could go sort of modern-ish. This is kind of a fairly modern one, quite cheap, very, very good value. And there's so much, what I'm saying is there's so much versatility. You're bound to find something in the size you like and the style you like, modern or vintage. The compatibility of the rings is such that a personal size or one that's sort of over 60 years old will the pages in here will also fit something more recent, which is amazing when you think about all the changes in the world. This is like a standard that was set way back over 100 years ago, around about 1910. So you're not going to probably have any fears of the system changing in terms of the actual the placement and the measurements of the rings. It will actually work for you. I hope it does. I think you should try it. Number two, customizable sections. So I've just turned this at random, and so we can see that there's a diary on your I don't know, right or left. I can't work that fast. But we've also got some to-do lists here, and we've got some maps, and we've got some note paper. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can put in here. But the beauty of it is it's completely customizable. I'll give you an example. Here we have a moleskin. This is a Hong Kong City notebook. And the designers of this notebook have done their best to provide inside with all the different sections that they think the visitor to Hong Kong City will require. But the pages are fixed. There's nothing you can do if you need a little bit more space. Just nothing you can do. But with a filofax or any ring binder mechanism, doesn't have to be a filofax, you can decide what goes in and crucially where. And that makes it a very, very versatile tool. I'll give you an example. I'm giving lots of examples in this video. So this is not a filofax, but it is a Golunski. It is a very, very ultra high quality English made binder from the 70s, late 70s, early 80s perhaps. But in here, if I just show you here, there's an A to Z reference. So I'm using this for a reference. I'm not using this as a diary or an agenda or shopping list or to-do list. It is specifically a binder that I have chosen what inserts and what dividers to put in and crucially what order like this one, I can have my diary at the back or the front or whatever. Crucially, I'm able to choose what goes in and where, and that is very, very, very powerful in terms of paper-based productivity. Number 3, paper quality. Because I can decide what goes in here, I can decide on the paper quality. Some people like really, really thin paper so that I can effectively get as many sheets or pages as I can in a binder, because obviously the space is limited, although there's nothing to stop you having more than one binder, and I have over 100. But what paper you choose is down to you. You could, for instance, this is really, really high quality Rhodia paper, which I cut, and I can cut into, this is A4, so it will fit in my A4, my A5, my personal size, even down to my mini size. And that takes a fountain pen very, very well. Or I can use, I've got some bank paper here, some Clairefontaine bank paper, just down out of camera sheet again, A4, and that is very, very, very thin paper, 50 GSM paper, and I can get a lot more in terms of the number of sheets in a binder using this 50 GSM paper than this 80 GSM paper. Some people prefer paper that's even thicker, say 100 GSM, and that will take generally a fountain pen very, very well. So it depends on your writing tool. Do you, for instance, use well, I don't know what this is really. It's a Pilot V7. It's one of my favourites I've been using for over 30 years. Or I sometimes use fountain pen, and it all depends on the paper. It all depends on the paper, but crucially, you can choose your own paper. Even if you buy inserts from filofax themselves, you've got a choice of at least 2 paper thicknesses, so you can choose. It's quite thin paper, ideally for a ballpoint pen or a pencil or one of these. Whatever they are. I can never really describe these pens because it is like a liquid ink thing, but it operates with a stainless steel nib, and it writes like a really nice fine ballpoint pen. But I digress. The crucial thing is you can choose what paper goes in and where. Number 4, the versatility and choice of inserts. Now there is a story to tell here, which I won't go down the rabbit hole too far, but back in the day, up until maybe the mid 80s, late 80s, you were able to choose different and purchase packs of inserts, all sorts of things that are related to specialist uses, like church records, army records, financial records, all sorts of things. And over the years, those have largely disappeared, and so you are left with just a few, certainly from filofax, just a few inserts. But third party designers make and print and will sell you all sorts of inserts that might appeal to you. Recently, filofax have been trying to re-expand their range into finance and well-being, and that's a good sign. But essentially, you can design your own, print them out if you have a printer, or you can buy them from a producer or a retailer on Etsy, for instance. So there's all sorts of opportunities there. The inserts are. There's a myriad of inserts. It is only limited not by the filofax retail list as it used to be, but now, because we can all print stuff, we can buy stuff from third parties there, and we can design our own using software, or just certainly what I do is I just generally use blank paper. Whether it's plain or lines or a grid square, I personally prefer that, and then I write on them as I go. But other, people's mileage will vary. But there's such a range out there that there is no possibility that people will be frustrated. You can make it happen. Number 5, portability. This is portable, but I would argue that this A4 is also portable. They are definitely portable. So it is something you can carry and use on the go, in a train, in a cafe, at work, in the car. Don't use it when you're driving, of course. But it is a portable system, and it can be better than a phone. It really can, in my opinion. I mean, I use digital systems as well, mainly on my phone, but I personally love the portable nature of a filofax. Other brands are available. Number 6, goal setting and reflection. These are attributes that can be associated with a ring binder or a notebook. Doesn't have to be a ring binder, but because of the versatility of the ring binder, allows you to remove or add and rearrange sections. It gives you an opportunity to set things up so that you can, for instance, have to-do lists, and that is effectively a goal-setting thing, I think, because you can tick things off as you do them, and that is, you've achieved your goal. You have done that thing. Other people would have a more complex set of goals and setting things out in the way they would like to do, and from a point of view of reflection, writing a journal, for instance, then so that you can reflect on the day or the week or the month or the year that's just gone. This is a very, very versatile system, I think. Very versatile indeed. So it just adds to the versatility of a filofax style ring binder system. Number 7, distractions. What I mean by that is, if you're using your phone or your laptop, it's beeping. People are alerting you to stuff. It is doing all sorts of things that perhaps you don't want it to do, because you're focused, you're in the zone, you are working on a project, you're doing something, and you don't want to be disturbed. And so I think this is a really, really good reason why a filofax is so important, because you can dispense with that. You can put it on silent, and then you have peace and quiet. And so you can focus on doing whatever you want in your filofax offline, and you're gaining, you're 100% focused on what you're doing. I think that is one of the most important reasons why, certainly with paper, and particularly with a ring binder system, you're maximising the possibility of doing your best work. Number 8, creative expression. What do I mean by that? You can have the inserts and the work you do in these binders. You can choose the colours, the layout, you can choose to decorate or doodle around the margins. You can do whatever you want. And sometimes that can go a long way. It's certainly personalising your work, but it allows you to express yourself creatively in a way that I think allows you to stay within your own creative bubble. So you cannot dispense or discount the value of creative expression, given the fact that you have the ability to do it in one of these binders. Number 9. We're nearly at the ends. Memory and visualization. If you use a phone or a laptop or a desktop, I personally don't think that the memory that is inserted into your mind is as powerful as if you were writing it down. And having a system so versatile as a filofax allows you the space to do just the right amount of memory aiding, if you like. I mean, that's a poor description. But the thing is, the processing information as you're writing it and you're recalling it later, I think when it comes to a filofax, it's very, very important. And when it comes to visualization, I mean, I quite often, I'm looking for my Frankenfax here, I haven't got it, but I quite often take a slimline filofax with me, maybe on the train or out and about. It might be a mini size. Quite often it's something that's like a very, very similar to a personal size. But the thing is, I like to take with me some blank paper so that I can doodle, so that if I have an idea, I've got the ability to draw and jot things down, do some calculations, so that I can visualize what I'm trying to formulate in my mind, and I'm doing it on paper. And the beauty of a ring binder is that once that's done, I can discard it. If it's done in a hardback notebook, then it's there forever, which might be a good idea if you're writing a journal for potentially being read by your descendants. But if it's something where when you are using all sorts of methods to write all sorts of stuff throughout the day, some things might be ephemeral, other things might be permanent. The fact that you can add and rearrange and delete and remove what you're doing adds to the visualization of what's coming out of your mind and onto paper. I think that the process of boosting your memory by writing and drawing, and also aiding visualization so that you can more easily clarify what you're thinking about, is a very, 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 it's a powerful tool, definitely. And finally, number 10, long-term use. This binder is a vintage binder, and it's older than me, and it actually looks brand new. I've got binders that are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they are only halfway through their lives, especially if you have a vintage binder and it's made of leather. Potentially this will fade and deteriorate gracefully, and this might be around in 100 or 200 years. You never know. It depends on the mechanism, and it depends on the leather, but it is potentially something that would last a lifetime, and that's the important thing. If you choose wisely, you pick a binder that has a reputation for lasting a long time, and that is not just limited to vintage binders, but there's no reason why this binder can't last 100 years too. It depends, but do your research. But The thing is, I have got stuff in here, reference stuff, which is 30 years old. If one of the holes, the punched holes in the paper tears through, I can use as a hole reinforcement, as we all did at school back in the day. So paper, particularly paper that's good quality and acid free, will potentially last hundreds of years. So as a long-term prospect, being able to use this and store temporarily stuff, and then when you've finished, you can perhaps take the pages out like a diary, and then tie the pages together with string, or use another binder. For instance, you could use that needs to store your last year's diary, last year's agenda or planner in another binder. You can use that to your advantage if you like the idea of having n+1 binders, where n is the number of binders you currently have. So it is for me, it's something that I've been interested in for many, many years. I think I bought my first filofax in September 1993, so over 30 years now. And I have just found them very, very useful. It's not the invention of the century, but I'll tell you what, it's an absolutely fantastic invention that's lasted over 100 years, and I hope it will last well into the future. Thanks for watching. Until my next video, goodbye.